Hello, hello. Here we go again. Can't believe it's September. Like crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
The third Thursday of the month. All our friends are joining us. You guys are fabulous. You're so consistent. We appreciate you. All right. Wow, look at that room.
Ah, it's going in.
I know we had 150 people sign up for this webinar. So obviously it's a topic of interest. And Jordan and I are really excited to lead you through things having to do with the One Each website, the Drupal platform, and tips and tricks that our customers need to know. And I know many of you might be doing this stuff. Some of you, it'll be completely new. So we're going to go through a series of information and questions, and hopefully you love this. All right, let's use our time well. So let's keep going. On the webinar today, Jordan and myself are presenting. Christina is not able to join us today, but we have Chrissy and Brian. Brian, always say hello. Brian is our sales rep. Go for it, Brian. This is your jump in
Yep,
moment.
hello. Just noteworthy, I mean, it's crazy that we're already heading into fall. So if you do have any like end of year spending or know any referrals, please send them over our way. And then, of course, talk to your account managers or myself about Mindful Giving, our donation platform, because the holiday giving season's right around the corner. So you want to have plenty of time to get that rolled out. So that's my soapbox. I'll hand it back to you, Allison.
Oh, thanks, Brian. Yeah, and please, we love referrals. You hopefully are sitting there on this webinar because you enjoy our platform. Tell others about it. Let us know. We will actually reward you for doing that. So today's agenda, we've gotten into the standard of know your audience, which is going to be a poll question I'm going to ask in just a second. Some did you know? We're going to Google. It's kind of part of SEO, right? Jordan's going to take us through how to do a lot of cool stuff on our sites. And we're going to talk about some of our partners that we're working with that can be helpful for you in this process as well. So that's kind of what we're covering today, or it is what we're covering today. So let's do our poll, know your audience. All right, this is when I find out who's paying attention. You should on your screen right now see two questions. The first question, configuring meta tags. Do you edit them? Do you not know what a meta tag is? You've heard of them, you don't know how to use them. So this lets us know if we got like all the experts in the world out here and we can hand the webinar over to you and you can present, or you're just kind of like here because you're like, I've heard of this stuff, or I'm not really sure what this stuff is. So if you take a moment, look at your screen, there's two questions there. We appreciate asking both of them. When's the last time you Googled your organization? If you're sitting there Googling it right now, I don't think that counts, but that's fine. We're going to talk about Googling our organization. So if you do it, you do it. So I asked you if you've done it this week, last 3 months, longer than 3 months ago, you've never Googled your website. And all right, let's go ahead and end the poll and see what you guys said. It's always interesting for you to see what each other is saying as well. I rather love that 21% of you are regularly editing your meta tags, but the rest of you are either in the like, what is it, or not sure how to do it. So we're going to help all of you guys out. Those of you who regularly edit your meta tags, if you have pointers that you would like to make, feel free to use the question and answer box that comes with the webinar tool and share. We love sharing. We learn things from our customers all the time. A lot of you are Googling your website. That's fabulous. And that is a good thing because that's how you know what Google's saying about you. And I feel like when we put this webinar out here as having it, like a bunch of people turned and Googled it right away on like, I'm going to go to an SEO one. I should see what's on. All right, let me stop sharing on that. Cool. Thank you for participating in our poll question. We always appreciate your information. So let me do my did you knows for the week. So did you know that, and we're talking SEO, right? Search engine optimization. That's what SEO stands for. So the whole premise of this webinar is how are you pooling when someone's looking for you? Well, let's be honest, Google is the top search engine out there. And we want to pay attention to what Google's doing. There are other search engines as well, but Google is kind of the standard we're going by. So Google crawls your website anywhere from once every 3 days to every 4 weeks. And by crawling their website, they use these like, oh, I read the thing, it's like little bots that go on the code side of your page and are looking for important things that tell them what the page is about. And so we'll talk a little bit more about what that is, but it happens regularly. So checking out what information's out there on your site is a good thing. Your title matters. Page titles are super important. Nice, consistent, concise, what the page is about. So I discovered in some of my research and looking that About Us and Contact Us are kind of pages Google expects every site to have. I know sometimes I'll see some of our customers do who we are or something like that, which is still relevant to what your organization is about. But that /about-us and that /contact-us is a standard in the web world and is something that tells search engines that that's what your organization is about, and that's how to contact that organization. Now you'll see a lot of, like, if you ever look for a restaurant or whatever, hours of operations and stuff, that is something that they do recommend that you have on your contact us page. That's how they can populate in that area in their Google searches, because you usually will see that on something like if you're ever doing driving maps and you're like, oh, is it closing soon, that kind of stuff. So adding some of that to your About Us page is a good idea. Duplicate content can be problematic for search engines. So I want to point this out. If you're ever on one of your pages and you look at that URL across the top and you see a -0 at the end of the URL, -0 happens when the exact same page name is being used again. So let's just say you've had an About Us page forever. Somehow you can't find it, it got buried. And you go, I'm going to create About Us page. And you create it and you call it /about-us. But it already exists. The system's going to put a -0 on it. So that means Google has got 2 About Us pages and it doesn't know what to do. And it goes -0 for one copy, -1 for the second copy, -2 for the third copy of the exact same page title name. And you don't want to see that. There are ways to clean that up. I always remove the -0 and see what the first version is. And sometimes it's page not found or whatever, but you can clean that up so you don't have those extra pages. That's an important tip. And, you know, so if you're Googling yourself, you're going to see your rating and your different things. Do you have reviews on Google, on Yelp, on Facebook? All of that stuff is positive, can be positive, can also be negative to your search engine optimization, to how you're found, to how you're ranked, to how you're rated. All right, so let's Google. I'm going to, I borrowed one of my United Ways that I use frequently in these webinars, and this is United Way of Payne County. So United Way of Payne County, when I searched them via Google, of course, they popped first. Here's things you can note about them. Obviously their name, this description right here, going to show you where that came from. You have the ability, or we have the ability, to control what that description says. There is a place in your website for that, and our team can help you with that. You also have the ability to control what each of these little descriptors under each pages say, and we're going to show you how you can make those changes as well. But if you aren't going in and editing them yourself, the system's going to pull for you, right? So we'll go through a couple of these to see why it says what it does here and how you're able to tell that. So when you Google yourself, usually you'll see this. You'll see the organization with your descriptor. See if you like your descriptor. You'll see these pages that are pulling, they're the top searched pages. They're the top visited pages. You can go to your Google Analytics and find it, or you can actually see what Google's telling you most people are looking at. People are looking at their About Us, always very high in the ranking. Contact Us is also on this list, also very high. Their agencies, that's great, right? You want, as a United Way, you want people knowing about the work you do, volunteering and jobs. Those make sense. Those are kind of good, logical ones. On the right-hand side of this, let's talk about this box, because I know I get a lot of questions. Our customers reach out to us and say, how can I change this? What Google's saying about me? Well, it's a complicated mess at times. There are ways to go in here and request some edits, write reviews, etc. But see, they have 6 Google reviews and a 4.0 rating. That's fabulous. That's good for them. Their information's here. They also have reviews on Facebook. They have ratings. All of this stuff helps drive their searchability. You want to make sure their map's right, the pictures make sense. So take a look at that and see what you find when you look for your organization. Okay. Now, what else came up when I searched for United Way of Payne County? Well, of course they came first. That's great. But what else showed? Their Facebook showed next. Great. That's good. That should happen. United Way, the national organization, showed with their information. That makes sense too. One of their largest campaigns, which is Oklahoma State University, showed next. Their YouTube page, the chamber, the Instagram, those are all really good search results because they're all very relevant. So, and some of that happens like the chamber from what we call backlinking, where they've mentioned you on their site and it's coming back to you, or the university is mentioning you and it's coming back to you. So those are good things. All right, their homepage. We saw here on the description that it said how we can help. Where did that come from? So most of the time when Google searches your site, they're looking for words that describe what you're doing. Now, again, there's the ability, and our team can do this for you, to go and change what it's going to say. But if it doesn't have that written somewhere for them to go to, then they're going to go to the page. And in this case, it's how we can help, resources to improve the lives of individuals. That's exactly what it says in the search. It's pulling the words right from the page. So if you see words, it's probably from somewhere on your page. If you want them different on the home page, that's going to be a support ticket to us. We can help you with that. Their About Us page, the words that pulled in their search was this: United Way of Payne County is a collective impact organization. Why did it grab these words out of the middle of the page? Google likes quotes. If you're using quotes, they see that as an important marker about a page, and they will grab that kind of text. Again, you can overwrite it, but that's why that was what was pulled under About Us. And then the next one they had was partner agencies, which listed for kids in the community and Red Cross. Let me make a few comments about this page. I know I have a lot of United Ways on this call. I have a lot of other organizations as well. But in the United Way world, if you're funding your partner agencies, do you want, when someone searches for a partner agency of yours, for you to be in their search results? My answer is, yeah, I would want that connection made. So I love this page that United Way of Payne County has, because they're using, if you've used the staff and board, they repurposed it for their agencies. So if I click on this for kids and community, they have their own page. They have their own URL on my site. That means if people are looking for them, there's a good chance they're going to locate me. Let's see what happens. If I go to Google and I search for kids and community, their Facebook page is first, United Way of Payne County is second. So one thing you want to think about is, what do you want to have drive people to your site? What's the work you're doing? What should people, when they see one of your agencies or are looking for the work your agencies are doing, or for any of your partners are doing, should your site pull? Those are questions back to you. I know I've had a lot of conversations with our nonprofits who are like, for example, this one's come up several times. When someone searches for homeless shelters, our organization pops, but we're not a homeless shelter. But maybe you fund it. Maybe it's connected somehow. And you might sit there thinking, I don't want mine to pull, but do you not want yours to pull? It's a conversation to be had, but if your services and the things you're doing revolve around homelessness and food pantries and this stuff, it is likely that you're going to pull, and in a lot of ways, we would recommend that you embrace that you lean into those keywords and those search words to drive traffic to your site, to educate people about what you do. So think about that as you're thinking about how you're going to drive traffic to your site. What are the things you're doing and your descriptions and all of that good stuff. So that's my Google Googling for the day, and I'm going to hand it back to Jordan, who's going to tell you how you can actually control some of those words that you just saw in the Google search.
Perfect. Thanks, Allison. All right, let me grab the screen here. Okay, I'm going to do a little jumping back and forth, so I'm not going to put the slides in presentation mode, but we'll point out all my images in full screen here. So one of the things that I wanted to go through was
Jordan?
Yep.
I'm not seeing your screen.
Oh. Hold on. Let's try that again.
There we go.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now that we've kind of taken a look at a Google search page, we've pointed out, Allison did a good job pointing out some of the different areas that you want to be able to control on your website. And so I wanted to go over, what those are called, what they do, and how do you actually get in and edit those on your website so that you can start implementing these changes. So the first one that Allison talked about was the title tag. And the title tag is just the page title of the pages on your website. Search engines use them to get a feel for what the content is about, and your Google search users, people that are Googling, they use page titles to get clues to what kind of content's going to be on that page. So if we're looking at a Google search here, I Googled 1H Technologies. All of these 1H Technologies websites, solutions, these are all page titles that Google is pulling from the website and putting on their search page here. So a couple best practices when it comes to page titles is to try and use your target keywords. Try and stick those in your page titles if you can. You can make them descriptive. We do recommend keeping your title tags between 55 and 60 characters in length. So you don't want a really long page title, but you don't want, a one-word page title either if you can help it. Another good reminder is that your brand name isn't required on every page title. So you don't need to be putting your organization name on the page title. And then we talked about, Allison talked about, is trying not to duplicate those title tags. That confuses Google. If you have pages that are called the same thing, it also creates those -0, -1 URLs on your site that can be confusing as well. All right, the next one that we talked about was the meta descriptions. And those are those little snippets right underneath those searches on Google that pop up. These are called the meta description, and you do have the ability to update these on all of your internal pages. Again, if you are Googling your main website, that homepage, our team can change that. But on all of the internal pages that rank on Google, you can update those yourselves. So the meta tag helps improve the click-through rate. So if users are searching you, they're reading that small description, that helps let a user know if they want to go ahead and click on that link or if they are going to skip down to the next one. So these are great to be including your keywords in them. You want to focus on trying to write descriptive meta descriptions if you can, that kind of use compelling language there to kind of tell that user, yes, please click on this link. It's going to give you the information that you need. You want to try and avoid duplicate meta descriptions on your pages as well. And our recommended character length here is about 150 to 160 characters in length. So before I move on to the next slide, I want to point both the title and the meta descriptions out on your Drupal pages. So when we're looking at a page on your site, if you've added a page title, which is required, I think it's the only thing that we require when creating a new page, that title shows up at the very top of your site or of the page. So this is always your title tag. And when you're editing the page, there's a couple different places where you can find the meta description. And the first place is all the way at the bottom of the page. within the real-time SEO analyzer tool that we've added, right underneath, you get a little snippet preview of what this page is going to look like on a Google search page. And right underneath, you can see that meta description. And there is an edit snippet button here. So right from this section, you can come in and you can edit this meta description to be what you would prefer. And I know we've been talking a lot about character limits. One of the things that I like to try and do, because I don't want to count characters, especially if it includes spaces, is there is a tool called wordcounter.net that you can pop your description if you're trying to come up with something, and it will quickly tell you how many characters that is, including spacing. It's very useful, so you're not sitting there counting, and you can make sure you're keeping within those restrictions there. So this is the first place that you can edit that meta description for this page. The second option is in the meta tags that you've seen on the right-hand side. We do have a very robust meta tag section here. Right at the top is that page title and that description field. So if you edit the meta description here or down at the bottom, they'll both update and reflect to be the same thing. So you won't have two different meta descriptions here. All right, let's jump back to our slide now. Another good practice to keep in mind when you're trying to create pages that are going to rank well on Google is the headings on your site. We build in all of the headings into your website so that you can use them. These help improve the user experience. Google also searches for H1 tags, and then all those supporting H2, 3, and 4 really help kind of break up content and make it really readable for Google and for the users that are coming to your pages. So again, looking at our demo page here, let's go back to the view. I've got a couple headings here. And one important thing to note is that your title page on all of our Drupal sites, we program that page title to always be a H1 tag. And that's important to say because one of the recommendations that we have is that you only put one H1 tag per page. And since we have them built into our page titles, you don't need to add additional ones unless it is very necessary, but you have that one H1 tag built in already with that page title. So all the rest of the headings underneath can just be supporting to the content on my page. I've got an H2, an H3 tag, and H4 down here. We do program on our sites the size and the color of all your headings, but these can be changed. I do like to point that out. Usually on every website, we try to put in a headings page. So if you aren't sure if you have one or not, try and search for a page called headings. And on this page, we try to give you a style guide or a key of what your headings look like on the page, what size they are. But the nice thing is that we can change these. So if you are not a big fan of having that red color for your H2 and you'd rather have it be blue, let us know. We can adjust this. We can make them bigger by default so that no matter what page, anytime you add this heading, it's always going to be a specific color and size. So these are customizable here. Okay. And then moving on to content and keywords. So besides getting your title tag, your meta description, your headings in there, when you're looking at content as a whole on a page, you really want to be thoughtful on how you're preparing that content, right? So you want to make sure you're doing some keyword research so that you can sprinkle that into the page. You want to try and find unique and relevant content to whatever that topic is on that page so that you can create something that Google wants to read and that Google wants to spit out to its users. We do have a partner organization that we work with called Nonprofit Megaphone. They have a great blog post all about using SEO to boost your visibility. We will send this link out in our follow-up here, but if you are wanting to learn more about how to conduct keyword research, this is a great article to look to. This is where I would start first before you start writing content, is start thinking about what keywords you want to include throughout your website. So we'll send this out to you. And then we're going to go walk through a page on this as well, but just some more tips and tricks for writing effectively is keeping shorter sentences, trying to keep paragraphs to 3 or 4 sentences per paragraph, using those headings to break up content, putting bullet points or numbers in as they make sense. And then, as Allison mentioned as well, all those backlinks. So if you have partner agencies that you can link out to and have them link back to your website, that is something that Google looks for and ranks your pages higher depending on how many you have. So internal linking where it makes sense, especially using the keyword as the link rather than a click here as that link verbiage is definitely useful for drafting page content. Okay, so let's get into actually making a page now that we've gone through all our slide deck of content. So if I wanted to start a new page of content and try and gear it towards some good page SEO, the first thing I'm going to do is add a title. And let's call this Food Drive Campaign. And then I am going to cheat just a little bit and head over to my friend ChatGPT. And I'm going to give it a prompt to write me a good blog post. So let's have ChatGPT use good SEO best practices, create a blog post for me about why food drive campaigns are important, and use my keyword phrase, food drive is going to be my keyword. I'm just going to get something started here. So let's take all of this content now and pop that into our new page.
You got your question in there too on the bottom, but that's okay.
Oh, we can take that out. That's not needed. Just wanted to get some content on here and then we can work to make this better. So I will put my focus keyword in the real-time SEO analyzer down here. We're calling it Food Drive. And right away, I can see this is telling me I have good SEO. And if I look down at the bottom, it does give me some recommendations that I can make directly on this page. So the first one is no meta description has been specified. Search engines will copy and display that from the page. If you are seeing this, it may be because we haven't saved the page yet. If I go ahead and save, our content analysis may change. So let's jump back into that editing view. Okay, and now my meta tag has cleared because I did save. So one of the things that's giving me the red content analysis is that I don't have any images in this page. So it says consider adding some as appropriate. So let's go back up. And maybe before we get into this bullet point list, we want to add an image in here. Let's grab.
And just if anyone's noticing that this editor might just look just a little different, you're in Drupal 10, right?
Yes, this is our Monsoon Drupal 10 demo.
Right. So just thought I'd point that out.
So maybe we'll pull this in and then let's add an alternative text. Food drive volunteers.
And again, that alternative text also is ADA compliant because computerized readers can read it, but Google also searches it.
Yeah, exactly. So let's take a look at our content analysis now. And now my image has gone away. So it's I have more green lights down here. It'll also look at how many times I'm using my keyword within the body of the text. It does do this reading ease test that you can click on and kind of read more information about what that's about. And then it is giving me a note here that my meta description is over 156 characters and it's recommending that I reduce it. So let's edit that snippet. Oh, which is showing lots of text here. So since this is showing the code as well, what I'm going to do is come up to the meta tag over here. And I can write my own description, which will update down below, and I can write it in not code down there. So maybe we want to just grab food insecurity is a pressing issue in many communities, and food drive campaigns can play a crucial role in hunger. maybe we'll throw that in. Volunteer today. Let's check how many characters that is in our little word counter.
Is it 160 or less is the character recommendation?
It's anywhere between 150 to 160. I think this page is telling me, oh, I think it updated. 156 is the recommended length. So now that I've updated my description here, it should also be updating down immediately down below. It's updated that. And I have no more code within that meta description. So this is a little bit how to use this tool. I know we get some questions time to time on how to use that SEO analyzer. So I wanted to walk through actually creating a page, adding in that focus keyword, and then how to read that content analysis and make those changes in real time on a page. Now there is one hiccup to the real-time SEO analyzer that I do want to point out, and that is that it cannot pick up on any content you are using if you are using page components. It doesn't mean your page SEO is bad. It just means this tool particularly can't pick up on those components, but Google still is. So this is still good recommendations to take a look at if you aren't using the body area here and you are building out all of your page within page components. Take a look at the recommendations down here and see how you can still apply those within your page component sites. Okay, any questions that have come through? I know we've kind of jumped through a ton of content.
People are being very, very quiet. So, oh, JD, you raised your hand. Do me a favor and go to the Q&A area and type your question in there. So that would be awesome. Look for Q&A and type that in. Okay.
Yeah, and our
it's
Zoom
not chat, it's the Q&A. Use the Q&A. There you go. Right where you're typing, JD. Keep going. Okay. So a couple comments on this thought I'll throw out as it looks like a few questions are coming in. Yes, most of all your sites should have that SEO analyzer on it. If you're not seeing that, let us know. And you should have that meta area on the side too, up on the top right. Every once in a while, see a site that doesn't have that meta tag thing. Now that thing goes on and on and on and on, and we're not experts in SEO, so we're sticking to the basic stuff that Google's looking for on those descriptions, and on the word titles, and on what we're doing. So one of my sites says there's no links that appear on this page, but I have links, so it might not be recognizing it. It's not an exact science, but those are recommendations. If you're following the recommendations of the SEO analyzer, you're good, right? Jordan?
Yes. And yeah, that's the one downside is at the moment, the real-time analyzer, this tool doesn't recognize any content within that page component. But that doesn't mean that your SEO is bad, and it doesn't mean that it's hurting. Using components isn't hurting the SEO on your website. Google is still able to find and rank those within the site, and there's still ways that you can edit that meta tag description, even if it's not showing up here. And that's where this sidebar comes in handy. So if you are using, a landing page where you're building out the entire page using components, that's where you want to come and edit that meta description in this sidebar area versus down in the SEO analyzer below.
And Jordan, a question, this is a good one. I know we have a lot of our customers who are getting ready to do new sites, and they're like, if I go edit all my meta descriptions right now, is that going to carry over to my new site?
Yes.
Go ahead.
It will carry over. So yes, it is always a good idea to take a look at your pages now. These are, there's lots of different ways that you can improve the SEO on your page. These are kind of the quick ones that you can get done, right away. The page title, the meta description, taking a look at those recommendations within the SEO analyzer. As you start to do that now, if you are updating your site or you're moving into a new theme, all of that's going to carry over. When we migrate content from one site to another, we transfer the entire node. If you see that word around, node is just the technical term for the page, but it includes everything within that node. So if you are playing around with those meta tags, those will carry over to the new site as well. So you shouldn't have to duplicate those efforts if you want to start diving into this now.
So another question that came up, now see everyone's starting to chat in here. This is good. The homepage, how do I change the description on the homepage? So I'll go ahead. We do ask you to submit a support ticket, support.oneeach.com, and give us what you want that description to be, and our team will set that for your homepage. I will say that I recently did this with one of my customers, and within, I think it was about 3 or 4 days, when we Googled them again, that new description appeared. So don't forget, this is not an instantaneous thing, folks. If you're sitting there doing it and you go Google, it's not going to be there. They crawl your site every 3 days to 4 weeks. Usually it seems to be on the quicker side, I'd say, but it might take a while for any of those descriptions to actually pull. But Google your site regularly, see what it's saying about you, and see what other things are pulling with it. That's just highly recommended.
Yeah. And JD, I see your question as well. And what you can do, if you are using page components for your page and you're building it out, and the very first component you're using on your page is a rich text editor, you could consider just popping that into the pre-built body up above so that you can start to take a look at the SEO analyzer tool down here, at least on that initial paragraph or that component. The other thing that you can do is if you're drafting content up and you want to check it before you format it or style it out using the page components, is you can build it in the body area here, use the analyzer to check your content, and then pop that content down below into the page components to style it out, to put it, pop it in the columns, put it in accordions. But you can check the analyzer tool first if you want to put that in the body area here. So just kind of a workaround to using that.
Hey, Jordan, let's see if someone's doing the SEO analyzer and they get like a warning about stop words, are you familiar with what that exactly means?
Yes. And if you are seeing that warning, it should also link you to an article about what stop words are. There are a couple of recommendations in here where if you're not familiar, it should link you out. Stop words, I believe, are referring to the URL alias. So if you have a lot of like the, is, at, those are small words that are considered stop words in Google terms. So if you can avoid having those within that URL alias, that should be what it's referring to. But again, you should see a message, and let's see if we can get one to happen. This is my food drive campaign page. Let's see if that gives us that warning. Let's save our page here.
Hey. And that does bring to mind on page titles, we're talking about keeping them concise and keeping them consistent. This is something that I've been kind of saying for a long time. Avoid putting the years in your page titles. I know it might be Food Drive 2024, Food Drive 2025. I mean, you're just creating new pages of the same thing. And again, that confuses your search engines. There's your stop word. I didn't see it. You had it in the keyword thing? I was jabbering. Where did it say stop?
Stop words. The slug for this page contains a stop word, and the slug, which we call a URL alias or the page name, but the slug is what shows up after your domain. So the my is a stop word. These are kind of short words that may not need to be in there. So even I have this is my, so Google's even removing those altogether. So it's saying, hey, maybe take a look at this slug here to not have as many stop words there. And you can edit the slug is what it's referred to down here. But you can also change that URL alias from the Drupal site as well. So if you like having this title, this is meeting the character requirements, you have your keyword in here, but you don't necessarily want to have all of that within the URL that you're trying to point users to, you can automatically adjust what that alias says. So by default, it's going to match the title, But if you uncheck the box, you have the freedom here to change that to what you'd prefer. So don't forget about those options there as well.
If you save that, does that fix it? Or is it based on that title? On the stop words? Do you know? We'll find out.
So my title is still long, my alias is short, and my stop words notification has gone away.
And the thing about the URL alias, I like to point out, so if you're watching this webinar and you're like, wow, I want to go change a bunch of my URLs, for the most part, our system's going to recognize that you changed it and it's going to create its own link and history of what they were before. But do note that your site has received history and SEO based on the URL. So when you change the URL, it might kind of take a minute to get back to where it was at. But the best practice is when you create a new page to make sure you love that URL on creation at the start of it. If you inherited a site and you got a bunch of long ones and you want to go clean it up, go for it. It might just take a while for the search engine to catch up with what you've done.
Exactly. Okay. Let's go. So again, we will send out some resources on SEO and what you can do to help improve that. I do want to talk about our partner as well. So we are a partner with Nonprofit Megaphone. If you are interested in the Google Ad Grant program, where you can run Google ads through your site, Google will give you free marketing money within their Google Ad Grant program. They can help you run those ads. There are requirements for how many you have to run. You have to meet certain metrics. They are very well versed within what that program entails and how to help you succeed in that program. They also have services where they can help with content creation. So if you're struggling and you just want to get a couple posts to kind of get you started, they have tools and resources for that as well. So if you have questions or you want more information, reach out to your account manager. We can get you connected and set up if you want to dive into that a little further. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about quickly is we know that there are probably a lot of you that are going through a brand refresh at the moment, and you're getting ready to kind of get a brand new website. One of the tools that we have found recently is all about donations and events, and it is a new partner of ours, another partner called QGive. And QGive is a free tool, and it's just an alternative to Stripe. And it does come with a little more out-of-the-box solution. So we know many of you probably use our Stripe web forms, and you can continue to use those, and it's still a great resource. We just wanted to show another option in case you were looking to move away from Stripe. I know there's been some that love it, some that want to find another tool. So we wanted to make sure we had another option out there that was available to our customers. So this is a QGive form. This is embedded directly on our demo site. When you're working within QGive, you'll have the option to build out one-time donation options, ongoing donation options. It's styled very nicely. You can control what all these amounts are. You can control if you want to add fees. It will calculate automatically based on what the donation size is here. It'll collect, all of the donor information. You can add additional fields in here if you want to collect more. And then it does allow for credit card payment and ACH. And then there are also options within QGive to enable Venmo, PayPal, and Apple Pay. So it has lots of different payment options. QGive uses a payment processor called WorldPay. But they do have a Stripe option as well. So if you are, using Stripe currently, but you like the look and feel of this, you can still use Stripe with QGive to process those donations. So I'm going to pick on Marion County United Way a little bit. They are using QGive. So this is their donation page live on their website that they've set up. It does offer a sign-in option to donors. So if they wanted to go back and look at a history of their giving, they could do that. they can also give as a guest as well. So it's not requiring that login. And it'll walk users through kind of a multi-step or a long form process here. Personal gift, corporate gift options. The other part of QGive is that with this free tier is they also offer events. And I think the events are styled very nicely that you can build out. So United Way, Marion County also built out the events within QGive. This is kind of the general event landing page. But if we look at the events, maybe we'll get tickets. It comes to a really nice event page where you can get tickets or you can just donate. It's got options to share it on social media. It pops in all the event information on the side. It's got a map here. And it helps process all that event registration on the back end. Let's take a look at the other one, the luncheon. So again, you can add images. So it's just a great tool that we found. Of course, we have events built into our Drupal sites where we can set up similar things here, but this is just another option out there that we wanted to make sure we were showcasing. So the nice thing with QGive is that they have a few different programs. So this program, the donation forms and the events pages, it is their starter package, and that is no cost to you. Where they build in their cost is in the processing fee. It's just an extra 1% on top of what you normally charge. So it's not very high. It would just be an additional 1% on top of what you're normally doing with Stripe right now. But if you're looking for other solutions, they do have texting, they have peer-to-peer solutions, and they do have online auctions. And the cool thing that we've found is that you can turn the online auctions on, but you can only turn it, if you only need it for 2 months, you can turn it on for 2 months and then you can stop that, which is very neat. So if you don't need it for the full year, you can budget that in to just use that solution for 2 months there. And Brian, I saw you popped on. I know you've been working closely with QGive if you want to go into further detail.
Yep, I was just about to say, if you're interested in QGive, be sure that you talk to your account manager to have that demo set up, so we connect with them. Primarily, it makes sure that we maintain a level of access to where your account manager can actually go in, edit your forms, and kind of work on it with you when you do have those one-on-one meetings. If you go to them directly, request a demo, there's no tie to us, so we kind of lose that functionality. So that's just a very important point I wanted to make. Reach out to your account manager before going straight over to them.
Yes, thank you.
And I'd also add on with this, you might be like, obviously this is an aside during our SEO webinar, but we thought this was a good opportunity to bring up something like this because we're starting to get a lot of questions from folks who are like, maybe have had an issue with Stripe or don't love the forms or have seen more advanced functionality of other forms. So this is an option that our customers have found that is very affordable because it's free and they're liking it. So we are just taking the opportunity to share it with you because honestly, you can use whatever tool you want. We don't really have what I say skin in the game as to what you pick. Our job and our role at One Each is to let you know what's available so that you can see what your options are and you can go, oh, this one's interesting. So this is a newer one that's come up, but everyone who's touched it has loved it. So if you're interested, do talk to your account manager and we can help give you more information on this platform because it seems to be a really, really good option.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
All right, let's jump back to our slide deck now.
Oh, okay. I'm going to jump on this one. So I've been talking with our marketing department as well. These links that I have on this page are going to be in the follow-up email that you'll receive tomorrow. But we do want to make sure you're all getting our newsletter. So a lot of you sign up through the newsletter, so we know at least a bunch of you are seeing it. But we do send out every 2 months, we send out a newsletter. It has a lot of information that we would probably feature like a QGive or we featured our Mindful Giving or some of our customers and some of that stuff. So if you're not in it, you're not getting it, you've never seen it, we want to get you signed up. The other is our blog. Now we have these great blogs that probably not a lot of our customers are actually seeing. It's a lot of what we use in our social media. for one each as a company. But the recent one, which is down there on the, Gen Z giving trends and insights, how to engage with the Gen Z population, whole article with a lot of tips and tricks. So if you haven't checked out our blogs, there's some really good information out there. We just want to make sure you know about it. So if we move on to the next slide, I do have another quick poll. Again, going to see who's hanging in there and paying attention. This is really kind of coming from us for those reasons of the newsletter. It's up on your screen now. We want to know what you think of that, if you are receiving it, and if you have any topics of interest. And the topics of interest, you can click as many as you want or give us suggestions on the bottom. We want to make sure that the information that you're receiving from One Each is valuable to you. And hopefully you guys are getting our information and it's not just going nowhere, because we spend time on it and we are purposeful and intentional in what we're sending you. So yeah, take a moment, click through a couple of questions there, and topic ideas that we kind of randomly came up with that we could add into the newsletter that you might find interesting, or even add into some of our webinars that we do in the future as well. So I thank you for taking a moment, looking at your screen, answering questions. There's a little bit more for them to click through, so it's taking a second. Here we go. We're almost going to close this poll. And we're getting to the end of this, aren't we? We're wrapping up, maybe even a few minutes early. All right, let me go ahead and end that poll. Thank you guys so much. I'll share the results, but I'm glad that a lot of you are getting them. So for the few of you who said you're not, we do want to make sure you get signed up. And thanks for some feedback. Tips and tricks. You guys love the tips and tricks. Best practices. I love to share samples of what our customers are doing. So I'm glad you guys like that stuff. We will continue to do that as well. All right, that's it on my poll question. Back to you, Jordan.
All right. And we'll close it out. And yeah, I think we'll end maybe a minute or two early this month. But as a reminder, all of our webinars, they are posted in our support site. So you can go back and see that history. We also record all of our webinars. So probably tomorrow you'll get an email if you attended or signed up with the recording, and just a thank you as a follow-up. If you need to update your homepage meta tag, if you've Googled your organization and you want to change what that meta description says underneath your organization name, let us know. You can get a support ticket into our team, pop in the verbiage you'd like to use, and we can get that updated for you. You have wonderful account managers that love meeting with you, so please try to meet with your account manager regularly. If you have questions about QGive, about Nonprofit Megaphone, about SEO, if this was the first time you've heard anything about SEO and you have more questions, please reach out to your account managers. They can help to walk through this more with you guys and show you where on the site you can make those changes. And then rounding out the year, which seems wild to see December on this calendar, but our last 3 webinars of this year are coming up. In October, we are doing another deep dive into mindful giving, which is our in-kind donation solution. November is going to be all about end of year giving and kind of focusing on how to create those donation pages to increase your end of year giving. And then in December, we are going through your website to prepare it for another successful year in 2025. So we'd love to see all of you at these last 3. We love seeing all the names every month. It makes us happy to see those repeat attendees, but we're excited to round out the year with these 3.
And with that, thank you all very, very much, and have a great day.
Thanks for joining us.